Man, it took this dude a while to get here. He just flew in from Liberia?
Nah, bro. I just left the gym. Traffic a little bit. Hectic, but I'm glad I'm here.
How many times did dude work out today?
Nah, I just had a quick little workout.
Quick little workout. You working out after this?
Nah, resting for the day. You already know.
But anybody that knows me, wherever they see me, they know TJ's not too far around, and likewise. My brother from another mother.
That's what it is, my bro. Appreciate you for having me.
TJ, you know, he's from Liberia, but he's probably part Haitian. You never know.
Hey, he's right.
The bloodline. We'll find out when Christ gets back.
That's right.
But shout out to the bro TJ for coming today. TJ, you know, I'll be doing Bible study. TJ, I wanted him to be here today, talk about mindset. As you guys know, this is Max Your Mind, Max Philisaire. Thank you guys for being on the channel today.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Of course. Thanks for taking the time to come here and share with the audience how you mastermize your mind and on a regular basis. Like, I've known you for how many years now?
Man, it's been wow, probably like 8 to 10 years now. That's a minute.
Yeah, I know I've been to a lot of fitness expos with you. They do smiling like you see chicken or steak, chicken or steak behind me or something. Like, no,
nah, bro.
TJ's a very happy dude, very humble dude, a very confident and serious as well. So it's a nice balance, like, to have in the friendship and the individual. So it's all good vibes, and I definitely wanted to have TJ come on board to just talk about how he got from point A to B and where he wants to take it from here on out. And I've known TJ for years. Like, friends have come and gone in LA. You know, LA is cutthroat. People are very, like, for themselves. And, you know, I would say that's life in general. But if we're talking about LA, there's a lot of superficial stuff going on. So it's just nice to have a friend that you can trust, you know. Like, I can go to sleep, both eyes closed. But I've known you. I'm trying to remember. It's probably since, like, 2013 and even before that.
Yeah.
Because 2013 is when I got out of my longest relationship with my ex, 2013. But I knew you before me and her broke up. So it was probably, maybe it might have been 2011 or 2012 even.
Yeah,
I've known you.
The early stage of 2011. But, I mean, you're definitely right. Being in LA, man, it's not an easy task, you know. You know, people think that you're just gonna get out here and everything's gonna be good.
You've had your own trials and tribulations when moving to LA, relationships, you making the wrong choices in relationships, you know, ending up not to go deep into like exes and that, but we're gonna talk about the right choices to make when it comes to relationships for sure. Like, but when I first met you was through social media. Like, you know, I post a lot of content on social media. Some of you guys might have seen my content, and I tagged the location that a lot of people go hiking at, Runyon Canyon.
Yeah.
You saw my picture, and what happened? I think you hit me up and you said, let's do a workout at Runyon.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very interesting because I think I also went to Runyon the same day that you went there. So I was actually posting on social media, and I seen your tag, and I was like, oh man, it's the bro. I mean, like, you know, because before then I've even seen your social media and stuff. So I reached out. I was like, man, you know, let's get a workout in. And ever since then, you know,
right.
Brotherhood.
I'm always looking for to connect, you know, like always looking for to inspire, empower others, and also get inspiration back. Cause, like, you know, people keep me on my toes. Brothers keep me on my toes. Followers, supporters, everybody keeps me on my toes, so I don't get too comfortable. I don't get bored. There's always the next level to get to, and also just maintain health and fitness. But I'm definitely gonna pop up a picture to show you guys TJ's before picture when I first met him. Now, he always had pretty developed shoulders, but, you know, he fully transformed into RoboCop, which is what we call him. He's hiding it right now, which is just kind of good. He's hiding the shoulders, but he's representing Judah right now with the hoodie. So that speaks volumes. So tell us a little bit about what you got there on your hoodie, my friend.
So pretty much, I'm actually grateful that I got to know the truth about my background. When I mean your background, I mean like who I really am, where I come from. Judah actually comes from the tribe of Christ. I didn't know all of this before that, but I'm grateful to God now. I got to know the truth. Especially living in a world where a lot of things are being.
You've been studying your Bible, haven't you?
A lot of things have been censored and silenced from us. It was amazing to get into the Bible, get to know the scriptures, get to know the truth about who we are and where we come from as well. So, I'm grateful to be here and actually following the scriptures.
Yeah, you guys definitely gonna be hearing a lot more about our Bible study sessions. But to continue, like TJ's been putting in work. Like it's when I meet people or I work out with people or just connect with people, they either inspire me or I inspire them. It has to be one or the other, or there's no relationship, there's no connection, there's no point for the connection. And definitely over the years, TJ's pushed me and I pushed him in and out of the gym. And this is somebody that I also do Bible study with on a weekly basis. So he's a true brother, is what the Bible speaks of when it talks about brotherhood and a friend, a real friend. And just wanted to highlight that, and so you guys understand who's sitting before you right now. This is not small talk. We don't do small talk. Sometimes we do small talk, but right now I wanted to have TJ on here just talk about what it took for him to get here, and also what type of relationship you should have if you're looking for a friend. If oftentimes we collect people, we just want people in our space because of the wrong reasons, and I might have just one friend or a handful of friends, but the quality over beats quantity, and you'll find out when the storm comes, when you go through trials and tribulations, who your real friends are. But I know you came from a medical field. Let's talk a little bit about that. How'd you get into the medical field and transitioning into fitness?
Oh, it's interesting. So I actually had a passion for working with people and helping people out. So I remember when I was playing football back in high school, I used to volunteer every summer. I would actually go to a camp where they have kids with special needs and stuff like that. So something that I developed, I love being with the kids, helping people out. So I figured getting a degree in healthcare was a best way to be able to do more of that. I definitely say it's a different walks of life. So you got to really be passionate about that. You got to be a people's person to try to do something like that. And it's definitely a different side. It made me appreciate life more, and also understand not to take things for granted, because, like I said, huge respect to all the healthcare workers and people who sacrifice to do things on a daily basis, because it's not an easy field. So
especially right now, there's a lot of mixed feelings about what's going on right now with the day we're in, 2020 December. We don't know what tomorrow's going to look like, but we make the best out of it. Are you going to go back to the medical field? I know you went from fitness to investments.
Yeah. So
what's next?
For me, it's all about progression. It's good to have the background of the medical field, and that's something you can always go back to if you want to. But I was inspired by life, and I wanted to reach for more heights. But I kind of figured, working at a medical field and being stuck at a job, having to take time off and things like that, and request that, was holding me back from other things that I wanted to do. So I appreciate the lessons and what I've learned from the healthcare field, but as far as going back, I'm doing something else right now.
What you doing? It was top secret? You're not gonna share?
Yeah, so I went from that to actually get into investments and things like that. The thing is, growing up, as an athlete, I come from an athletic and sports background. They never teach you about wealth or how to build wealth or finances, and I think that's I speak for mostly everyone when I say this. A lot of us didn't know about like what credit is and how to build stuff. A lot of the things that I actually learned through failure. You could probably attest to it. I went through situations to where, with relationships and things that set me back. But I'm grateful to God, because, it was a lesson that I learned. And then I understood that in order for me to make certain changes in life, I had to go ahead and watch myself and focus on the things that I was doing, understand that I was responsible for my actions. So I took time off, and I was studying, learning stuff about finances, investments, and different things and credits. So the first thing I did was, I call up every company that I've ever worked with in the past that had stuff on my credit report. So I figure out how to pretty much just, pay them off, get them on a payment plan. I took the responsibility, instead of saying, well, I'm just going to leave it off. It's going to go off after, 7 years.
What inspired you to like take that initiative? Did somebody organize this plan for you, or did you just, wake up one day and you're like, know what, I'm going to hit up these companies and clean up my act?
Actually, it was just, like I said, all my obstacles and failures that I went through in life, because I in my mind, I thought like, hey, you got money, but it's not how much money you got. It's how much money you're able to save, how much money you're able to invest. It wasn't until, I was running around, just living life and wasn't thinking of what to come next, and, pretty much being useless with finances. And then I really, hit rock bottom. And when I wanted to make certain business decisions, and I understood that credit had to be in the way of it, because, even if you apply for an apartment or a home or anything like that, they have to check your credit. So it was like, man, like I needed to fix that. I always have a saying that's saying like, you can't, expect to have a water in a bucket if you don't fill the holes. So it's like you be running around circles. Right. So I understood that in order for me to get to the level where I want to be, certain decisions have to be made. Like I needed to focus on myself, focus on changing who I am, being responsible, being accountable. When you're 24, 25 years old, you're not running around thinking about, what's ahead next. A lot of times, and there's some people who are actually very mature at that age. But for me, it was more of like, I pretty much was just living life, thinking that, everything was going to be the way it is, until I started to, hit rock bottom and make some decisions that cut me into some bad positions. So, yeah, so I'm grateful for that lesson, because
lessons are definitely blessings. And sometimes, unless we get fall and hit rock bottom, we keep going down the wrong path. So it's a wake up call and a redirection. But I know like relationships definitely have been like, a learning curve. Like, cause like it's one thing if you make poor choices for yourself, and it's another thing if you're making poor choices with somebody else in your life.
Yeah.
And it hits you. It hits you hard. It hits you in your face. And men in general, I can't speak for all men, but I know like sometimes we make poor choices when it comes to relationships, who we pursue or how we deal with women in relationships. What can you share based on your experience, but the wrong decisions you made and like how you transition into making better choices as a man?
Yeah, that's very deep. Because through my experience, what I've actually learned right now is it's an identity thing. First of all, you gotta know who you are. I'm not talking about just like your name and your last name and where you come from. I'm talking about who you really are, like where your family come from, where your sisters come from. What's your purpose here? And I think through my
purpose is a big thing.
Yeah, through my early stages of life, it was just I pretty much was inspired by things that I saw, especially on the media and TV and stuff like that. So
influence.
Yeah, and all of that was just going by it, thinking like, hey, I want to get older. This is what I want to be. But come to find out, a man that doesn't have a purpose, has no direction.
Right.
So it's like I was just going with the flow, and 9 times out of 10. If you go with the flow, you're gonna end with the flow ends. So when things started happening in my life that wasn't really the way I wanted them to go, it was a big wake up call for me. I had to take a step back and be like, all right, well, if you're gonna want things to change in life, then you're gonna have to be the one making those changes. And a lot, like I said, a lot of it is being accountable. You gotta be accountable, but you gotta be responsible. So I started to evaluate my choices, the people I was surrounding myself with, the decisions I was making, and started to learn more about myself. And I think, yeah, you're the one that actually hit me up about, with GOCC and all of that. So I started to dive deep into it. I was doing a lot of study and research, and it literally transformed my mind and thinking of things in the world, and also my choices and decisions I was making. Because before I kind of felt like,
how did it transform your mind?
yeah, just the way I saw things. Like for instance, being very mindful about the friends and the choices you make. You know, because there's a saying that says, "Show me your friends, and I'll tell you what your future is going to be." Because 9 times out of 10, if you hung around people who just want to party and chase after girls, then they're not inspiring you or influence you to be anything better. Eventually, you know, you're gonna hit a stop block because you kind of feel like you're not progressing.
You reach your plateau.
Yeah, and it really made me reconsider a lot of those things. Like, you know, I started to invest time in people that I know are going to inspire me to try to be better. You know, because I know I wanted growth, but growth can't happen if you don't work on yourself. So I had to sit back and decide to make choices that were gonna put me on that direction to try to excel to where I wanted to be. So
as far as relationships, like, you know, talking about like girlfriend, wife, like, what inspired you to pursue women back then, and what inspires you now?
Man,
that's the transformation.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's like, I mean, as an athlete, it's like you growing up and you know, you seeing. I would definitely say media. Media plays a big impact on it. You know, you're watching athletes, you know, with all the nice girls, and in your mind you start to think like, you know, like that's what I want. But the thing is, you know, you can't just want anything. You know, you have to know why you want certain things. And men and women were created for a purpose. You know, so I know I was pursuing a woman, but I was pursuing a woman for the wrong things. You know, and if you do that, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to self-destruct. And I started to really look back, like after I got introduced to GOCC and, you know, have some failures in relationship, you know, I started to look back and understand, you know, the identity purpose. Because if you want to be with somebody, you got to understand you have to be equally yoked. What I mean by that is, if you're not on the same purpose as a person, it's not going to work. And it's the reason why a lot of relationships have issues with it, because in society we've been given an identity that really doesn't represent who we are. So until we really get to find out, you know, what our purpose is in life, then we'll understand why we want to pursue a woman. So I was definitely inspired and transformed when I came across GOCC, because that opened my mind to a whole lot of different things, and I saw the world from a different lens.
And like, what did GOCC, the church that we attend, what did they do for you as far as transforming your mindset? Like, can you elaborate on that?
It definitely changed my perception of how I view women.
How did they go about changing your perception?
Yeah, the information that we learned so far pretty much taught me, you know, man has a purpose and woman has a purpose in this world.
What's the information, my brother?
So
what's the information?
From the Bible, the lessons.
The whole back. He's holding back right now. He's being nice with it.
So I mean, doing Bible study, you know, I got to learn a lot, dive deep into the scriptures, get to know who I am, where I come from, and what my purpose is. So based on that information, you understand you're not just picking a woman based on, you know, the flesh and the physical. Because, like I said, let's really dive deep into it. We live in a world that promotes the physical
lust
things. And I honestly believe like that's probably one of the main reasons why a lot of people were lost, because we're following, you know, the physical and all the lust with no purpose. So
yeah, we're spiritual beings chasing after the flesh. Yeah, we have a physical body.
Yeah,
but we're spiritual beings, and if we're not feeding that spirit and we just keep chasing after what feeds the flesh, you're gonna end up dead.
Yeah.
And that's, you don't have to take my word for it. Look at the world we live in. Look at the relationships you've been through. Look at the relationships you're in right now, and you know, we reap what we sow. The Bible tells us that a portion of a wicked woman is given to a portion of a wicked man, and what that means is, like, the way you operate is what you'll attract. If you're out of order, you're gonna attract somebody that's out of order, male or female. So there's definitely I've been through that, you know, that same journey of pursuing women and spending time with women for the wrong reasons, and then it blowing up in my face, and boom, lessons. You get burnt when you burn your hand, you could be stop and be like, okay, how did I get burned? Why did I get burned? And how do I adjust? Or you're gonna keep getting burned until you learn. But you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah. So for me, what was the turning point for you in your life where you had to pretty much say, I need to change, or what happened that inspired you to say, I need to form a better relationship with women, and and not pursue things of lust?
well, I didn't view it as getting working on a better relationship with women. It was working on a better relationship with God, because I was putting everything before God. It's like we go to church on a weekend, or you do Bible study here and there, but then everything else was not in line, was not in order with God, and was not in order with structure, purpose. So I had to push distractions and everything to the side, work on my relationship with God, so that everything else can get in order, including who I'm attracted to, which type of women I pursue. And so that's order. I would say throughout all my past relationships, with my exes, I was learning. Is this every relationship you learn some of the same things, and sometimes you learn different things. And over time, I would say things were getting worse. I'd learn, but other things would pop up. It's like we're always learning about ourselves and each other. And so what I was learning about myself is there were choices I was making that was being destructive to myself and whoever I was choosing to be in my life. And eventually, if you're like, oh, there's cops getting involved, there's knives and stuff getting involved, you kind of have to take a step back and be like, what choices am I making to invite these things into my life? And you get wake up calls, you get warnings. So how you handle these things will dictate what happens next. But I would say over the years, every relationship, you got to stop and examine why didn't it work? Why did you choose to be in that relationship? And also, when are you gonna stop, examine, and take a different direction before it's too late?
Yeah, I mean that's very deep that you spoke on choices and things like that. Because I kind of was in similar situations where I basically was not holding myself accountable for actions. But you're right. If you're making choices and decisions just based on lust and based on the flesh, like you say, eventually, I can attest to that. You're going to keep having the same things, and sometimes in life, you can leave from one relationship and get to the next and think that's going to fix things, but it's not. The sources, until you figure out that you need to work on yourself and become a better being, then you can attract better. Before you understand that. And for me, I didn't know any of that until I really got closer to God. And then I started to see what I was supposed to do as a man, to become a better person, and then attract a better woman in the order of God. And man, I can tell you that really changed a lot, especially, living, I'm in my early 30s, living in Hollywood with a lot of stuff going on over here. If you don't have some type of order, man,
Hollywood is out of order. So
yeah, I was just gonna say that it's completely out of order.
If you come over here, you're either gonna influence Hollywood, or Hollywood's gonna influence you. So if you're not grounded, not working on your relationship with God, come here and get prepared to be changed and influenced. I don't recommend that. So if you're coming here, make sure you come here for a purpose. You're not just coming here and hang out and fit in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's already enough people here to fit in. So, hopefully if you come here, you have a calling to be here, and you come here to influence, bring positivity.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that.
On and off camera.
Yeah, because even, like I said, if you go back and look at how we started, you see in Max, you see TJ. We was always in the gym hitting the workouts, doing things.
It was all about the gym.
It was all about workouts and fitness, but it's another level when you have, like a brother in Christ that you can trust, because let's face it, this is a very, very cutthroat place. It's not a lot of people out here that are loyal. And I can speak for the bro here when I talk about loyalty, because you got to know who you got around you, especially when stuff go down. And a lot of times, there's not that many people that will look you and say, "Hey, bro, like you need to get your stuff together." And
that's a big one right there, because like you got people talking about this person's my friend, all these people are my friends, and when things hit the fan, you find out like these people really don't have friends and they by themselves, and you got a lot of people that surround themselves like yes man, like
acquaintances.
People like, well, we're not gonna talk about sensitive topics, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't want to lose friendships and contacts, so we're just gonna agree with everything. But that's not a friend. You're gonna be challenged as an individual, and your friendships are gonna be challenged, and you want them to be challenged. It reveals who's in your life.
Yeah.
It reveals a lot about yourself and how you handle things. Obstacles, yes, it's gonna be challenging at times. It's gonna be hard at times. If you're not challenged, you stay the same. If you stay the same, you can't climb to the next level. Like the storm will come and knock you and everybody around you down if you're not accepting challenges, individual challenges, relationship challenges, and using them to grow. And so with friendships, in relationships, like a woman that you want to pursue, you gotta make sure you're in order. You gotta make sure you're in order so that you can attract a woman that's in order. And when I say order, I'm beginning to love that word more and more. When I say order, things have to be in proper perspective. Like as far as your purpose, your goals, what you want as an individual, what God wants for your life, your relationship with God, how you view yourself as a man, how you view women. Like there's a lot of objectifying women going on. Like in the past, I was doing a lot of that influence. I was getting influence, and I was influenced my followers to just follow superficial things. But over time, you see that it's the dead end, and you start making adjustments, just like a workout, a meal plan. But my brother, I know you're still into fitness, personal training, and all that, but you went from fitness to investments.
Yeah.
I still need to get that class. Like how did that transition happen? I know you spoke on that already a little bit, but you actually took steps. What are the steps that you took to get more familiar with that world, the finance world?
That's very interesting because, like I said, I came from a background where I didn't know a lot about investing and money and stocks and stuff like that. So during the time when I had issues with relationships and losing money, like I said, I dive deep into just studying about.
I didn't know you were studying that stuff.
Studying about just the stock market.
I was at home watching movies. This dude was like,
I remember
his game up.
I remember there was a time I disappeared for I think it was a year or something, almost 2 years.
You're not talking about Miami.
Yeah, like when I went to Miami and all that. So
you did disappear. This dude was not replying to texts.
Yeah, bro. So basically,
Bootcamp.
What I was doing was, just getting myself into looking up how stuff works, stocks, real estate. I dived deep into it, and then I actually did my first investment. It was through an app called Robinhood. I just went in there, and then I started taking Finance 101 online courses about just money management, investments, and how.
So you self-educated yourself?
Pretty much, and then how ETFs work. So when
who?
ETF. So ETF is like electronically traded funds that has dividends and stuff that they pay back out over time. So I kind of figure the best will to be able to be freed is to have stocks and things that paid you back, because other than that, when you have money, you're just spending it, So if you invest that money, make that money work for you, and then you can be able to take that return asset and be able to pay for all of your liabilities that you have and things and lifestyles and different things that you want to do. But like I say, it was a real blessing, and that didn't happen until I pretty much had made some wrong decisions with money and chasing women, and then later on I came across my finance manager who, man, he definitely just took me and literally taught me so much stuff about funds management and how to move money around and trade, which is something I'm still getting better at. I'm still learning.
There's the right way and the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, there's so many ways to do it. And it doesn't work for everybody who doesn't know how to do it. But I think when you invest the time and learn more about it, you'll be able to definitely get some good results.
You believe this, investment stocks, that's there for the long run, right? I mean, this is what that runs the economy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you look at our current economy right now, it's pretty much run all on investments. There's the reason why certain things are being pushed down. The cutthroat about, hey, we need to do this. Think about it. For instance, like the whole mandate with the mask thing. That's also another big investment. There are companies right now who are profiting from the mask. I mean, people say it's effective, but I don't think it's effective. But if you look up information right now, there are a company who's making a lot of money from masks. So whoever invests in the stock of a mask, definitely going to be making a lot of money later on. Also, the whole stuff. I mean, with the whole vaccine thing, companies coming out with stuff. People are putting money behind, the vaccine and all of that, which again is going to pay people a return. But as far as the investing thing go, it's you just got to put your mind to it. So I kind of sought out the right people that I felt like could give me the knowledge that I needed for me to be able to run with it on my own.
What's the goal now that you're where you're at? What's this next step, next level you want to get to?
Man, right now the goal for me is to pretty much try to keep trying to expand and grow. I want to eventually own more properties. So I'm looking into seeing how things work. God's willing, invest in more property, out of states and buy different real estates. But yeah, as an investor, you gotta find out other ways how you can make the money work for you. So I would definitely say looking at business that's going on right now, and then buying new homes and things like that. And there are other ways you can invest your money, but right now it's a crucial time, especially in the economy. So doing your homework will also be the right thing to do, and then where you should need to put your money. Because we live in a world right now where we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's like everyone is afraid, but also it's a good time if you know how to play the game right. Yeah.
What advice can you give to people that are looking to invest, that have no experience, no education, but are looking to invest? Like what would you recommend that they start? Where could they start?
I pretty much would say, for me, it's to start looking at information online. And when it comes to investing, for instance, you got to look at things that you have interest in. So if you come from a health and fitness background, you got to look at things that are being put out in the fitness world that you think that is a necessity, because it's all about supply and demand. If you come from a tech world, if you come from a medical field, then you have ideas or certain things that's needed. Because you want to put the money in things that are actually going to bring you back a good return. So the first thing I would say is to start doing knowledge on the type of products and type of things you want to invest in, and also look at the return plan of that company for, let's say, 10 to 15 years return. What are the profit? What are the net profit? What are the losses? Also, you can look into the company, have they filed for certain bankruptcy over certain times. So that way, when you're putting your money into certain things, exactly what you're going to get back. And take a finance class, because it would teach you a lot about, money, finance, balance sheet, laws, and all of that. So even if you're investing with a direct investor, that way that you're not getting screwed over. So I definitely say it's important to definitely educate yourself so you know exactly what you're doing with your money.
Education is the thing. I guess if you want those results, you got to put in the work to get the insight and knowledge. So tell me, like, once you, become more successful, more financial freedom, you're growing your portfolio, how do you want to invest your time and money when it comes to purpose?
Oh, man, that's amazing. I definitely want to be able to reach out to, my communities, brothers and sisters, specifically, maybe go back to Africa, God's willing. I have a plan to just try to give back to the community because, I come from a place where we didn't have nothing growing up. So I figure if God's able to bless me to become, financially free, as you call it, or as I grow, I want to be able to only extend and give back. So for me, the goal is to open up, centers, homes, because one of the things that really bother me is seeing a lot of people homeless, and I drive around the street and I look at people and I'm like, man, God, like this could be me any time of the day or any year. I mean, working in the healthcare industry, I've met people who came from being like doctors and lawyers, and the next thing you know, they had some type of issue, like medical issue, and they practically lost everything. And these are people that have PhDs, but then we got to be grateful because you walk on the street and you see people. So for me, seeing that, at this point in my life, it actually bothers me because growing up, I would hear friends, other people be like, oh, they're drug dealers, or, they just don't give them the money or don't buy them food because they're just using it. But the thing is, I notice is everyone has a different story. Like you don't know the situation with someone else. So I kind of feel like, when I get to the level where I want to go, I only want to be able to give back to the people. And I hope that God can help me to be able to do that. That's what I want to do.
When you say home and centers, like what type of homes and centers? Like how do you plan to use this home and centers?
So one of the biggest things that's missing is resources, and like facility that has places where people can go, where they can get resources and get help on how to transform their life or get back on their feet. So I think definitely having the budget to invest into that, I think it'll be a great way to give back to the community, because if you don't have access to things, most likely what's going to happen, people are going to start doing things they don't want to do. Like if I can't afford money for groceries and I'm going months and months and months without groceries, what's going to happen is sometimes some people get into doing things that eventually lead them into other altercations like drugs and different things like that. But I think if people are being helped on how they can get on their feet, I think that's going to be better, because I believe in the hand up opportunity, not hands down to where you're being held down. I think the resources is what we need, and not trying to outcast people and say, oh, because he's lazy or because he does drugs. It's like, what are we doing as a people to help these people get back on their feet?
And what type of resources do you feel like the community needs? Like, are we talking about low income, homeless? What type of resources do you think they need and that you'd like to offer to them?
That's on a bigger scale. But as far as that, I would think like, centers that teach people on, how to get ready for jobs, interviews, and also as far as like the low income homes that people can afford, because if you look at everything right now, even with finances and business, the prices keep going up in different communities and different places. But one thing that stays stagnant, it's, the budget and what people are getting paid. It's almost as if like everything else goes up, but some people can't afford to live in these places. So eventually what happens is people are underpaid. So I think when I say resources, I think we as a people, when I say we, I mean like, the community, the leaders and people who are making this decision, we got to do a better job of saying, well, we need to create these resources where people can get jobs that they can be able to afford to be able to have these lifestyle, instead of saying, oh, I can't pay my rent, so I got to get kicked out. So that definitely is something that I look into because, like I said, I come from a community where people didn't have it, and a lot of people, including myself, we grew up with limited resources, so I know how that feel.
Well, it sounds like you're the right person to kickstart that initiative and do what you can to give back, because there's been people in your life that's helped you out and helped me out, and I know I didn't get here on my own.
Yes,
like it took a mother and father to birth me from the inception. So like I appreciate you having you in here. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
Man, I just like to say, like I said, I've learned a lot over the past couple of years. Like we talk about, adversities and trials and things like that. But if people are wondering, because I always get asked, what keeps you going? I just tell people it's my mindset. I going through the things that I went through, and how you transform your mind. you got to be accountable. You got to be accountable. You got to be responsible. If you can't just leave things undone, and I think once I started to take this initiative of things, like I said, I grew up just going with the flow. I see what I see on TV, and I'm being influenced by just other things around me and events and culture. It was like no sense of direction. And the young person that's coming out there that wants to pursue certain things, accountability. You got to be accountable. If you take the actions and you have things in order, then eventually you're going to arrive to where you want to get. But if you just leave things undone and you're not taking the responsibility, what's going to happen is you're going to run into dead end, and you're just going to start blaming people for things.
What's the motivation to get things in order, like you say?
The motivation should be to look at your current lifestyle, look at your current choices, and then also look at where you want to go. So the place that you want to go should actually be the motivation of why you should want to do the things you want to do. Because the moment that I locked into where I wanted to be, and I understood that I needed to take certain decisions and actions, at the end of the day, everything else didn't matter. And through this day, this is how I live my life. I have a favorite quote that said, you don't try to mess with somebody that's not afraid of being alone. Because for me to be able to get to this level, I had to master the art of being focused and getting rid of distractions. So I understood that if this is my purpose and I'm trying to get here, this is what is required, then I get rid of all the distractions. And that's definitely helped me out along the way. Even studying for 5, 6, 7 hours, this method I've used, putting away the phone, not picking up certain information, staying away from distraction. And at this time, I've done that. I remember my first website. A gentleman told me that it was going to cost me $10,000 to build it, and I said no. I actually built the website myself. I didn't have $10,000 to give him.
He said no.
Yeah. So I basically I did it for 8 hours a day. Within 3 weeks, I was able to build the website, figure out the code and everything. So you got to apply yourself, and this is just a message, because I get asked a lot about these, like, what keeps me going, what keeps me motivated. But that's just something I want to pass on to somebody who's coming up, because, the outcome of your life is going to be determined on, your choices and actions you're making. So if you take the right choices, then, eventually you're going to get there. But you got to practice that discipline.
Discipline, indeed. Like, you got to know what you want, and you got to believe that you can achieve it. Plan. You have to plan. A lot of things people want. They're like, oh, I want this physique. I want these goals, a home, car, financial freedom. And it's one thing to say, come up with these nice ideas and say you want it, but are you planning? Do you believe that you can have it? And are you practicing discipline?
Yeah.
Taking it one step at a time to get closer to achieving that goal.
Yeah.
It's very important. If we're talking about the basic things, like basic to us maybe because we work out all the time, but achieving a physique, it's like, people are like, how are you supposed to eat and how are you supposed to train? It's like, your mindset's got to be right, because it's not a lack of information about how to eat or how to train, because anybody could acquire that knowledge with Google real quick from your phone in 0 to 60 seconds. But is your mindset ready to receive the information and apply the information? And that goes for like all aspects of our lives.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm with you on that one.
I hear you, bro. And you're definitely right about that. And like I said, you guys, you're responsible. That's it. And I remember someone told me that it's your
no
life.
ifs and buts.
There's no back and forth. You're responsible for what you're doing, and that's it. And if your actions and choices aren't bringing you what you want to be, it starts with you. You got to start reevaluating those things.
Make adjustments.
Yes, pretty much. But yeah, man. Appreciate you for having me, bro.
Hey, we're definitely gonna be having you back on with some different episodes. Things like, there's a lot to talk about. I don't want to use up the whole time for everything to talk about. Like, we'll spread them out through multiple episodes. You guys, TJ the Contender, thanks for joining us again for another episode of Max Your Mind. Please subscribe, like, share feedback and comments on what you liked, disliked, and see you next time. Max out.